Good night, good night. Have one done tonight. God is good and God is good all the time. My name is Amateur Spirit Divine. Let me give you a word on tonight. Um, we're gonna talk about Micaiah prophesies against Ahab. It's gonna come from First King, chapter 22, 1 through 28. For 3 years. Now see, Micaiah, he gonna prophesize. Ahab ain't gonna want him to prophesy because he say every time he prophesies, it's always something bad and it's nothing good. So they gonna have 400 prophets. God gonna put a lying spirit in their mouth, but they all gonna have the same story. Mordecai's story gonna only one gonna be different. So he gonna want them to pay attention to the lying spirit. Because sometimes people are like, if they got so many people saying the same thing at the same time, I'm quite sure they're telling the truth. 9 out of 10 they don't. Just because so many people say the same thing, the same story, that don't mean they're telling the truth. So they're gonna have 400 prophets gonna say the same story, and it will not be the truth. And Mordecai's story is gonna only be the truth. So for 3 years, so they have no war. God gave them peace from war. But now, all of a sudden, on the third year, Jehoshaphat, he's the king over Judah. He went down to see the king of Israel. So Ahab is the king of Israel. Remember God had set them up with Elijah. So now in the 3 year, no war between Aram and Israel. So the third year, Jehoshaphat, the king, that he went to see the king. And they was talking about having a war. So he the man one say, let's see God first. So they didn't want to see God first. They wanted to see the other prophets. But Jehoshaphat, he kind of suspicious about that. He pretty much don't. He pretty much don't trust the other prophets because they're under Ahab and he's an evil king. So he wanted to seek counsel from God. But the king of Israel said, bring in the prophets, bring in the 400 prophets. Let's see what they're gonna say. So God had so they asking the prophets, should they go out to war? Now, see, they didn't want to listen to Jehoshaphat. He told them to have counsel, speak with God. Let's see God first. They didn't want to do that. They want to take the shortcut route and ask the prophet, should we go out, to war? So they answer, for the Lord will give it into your king's hands. So these 400 prophets may have been left alive, by Elijah. Remember, Elijah thought all the prophets gone. He was the only one survived. That's why I said he think he the only one survived. God have prophets all over. So now we see they got 400 prophets, but most of them is under Ahab, the evil king, and most of them is under God. Jehoshaphat had asked, is there a prophet of the Lord who we can inquire of? Because he's suspicious. You got 400 prophets. He want to know which one is under God. So the Israel have 400 prophets to inquire of the Lord, but Jehoshaphat clearly does not trust the prophet of the land, probably because they serve under the evil king Ahab. Or perhaps, God had given him the ability to discern which prophet truly represent God. Because see, all prophets don't come from God. Some people just make their own self up a prophet. So God sent our prophets. He anointed prophets. But they got some say they're a prophet but was not sent by God. So that's why Jehoshaphat he asked a question. Is it all sent by God? So he knew the difference between these prophets and God prophets. So he asked if the prophet of the Lord was available. So he's still looking for a prophet that's under God. And Mordecai pretty much going to be the only one. So 400 prophets, but some of them is under Ahab and some is under God. So the king of Israel has said, there is no prophet through whom we can acquire of the Lord. But the king said, I hate him. But they do have a prophet that's under God. He telling Micaiah. He said Micaiah is good, but he don't like him. He said every time he prophesies something, it always bad. So Justifier has said the king should not say such a thing. Because pretty much you can't say you hate someone. You know, pretty much like back then, you know, you couldn't even say that. That's why Justifier said, don't say such a thing. Because he said, I hate this prophet that's under God. He always prophesies something bad. So he said, don't say such a thing. So which prophet, represent the Lord? Ahab does not want to recommend Mordecai. He don't want to recommend him. But they're gonna get him out anyway. So they said bring Mordecai in. So they're sitting by the entrance of the gate and which all the prophets prophesied before death. And you may tell me you're gonna have all four prophets gonna say the same story. So they had made false gods and the Lord said destroy. So all the other prophets was prophesying the same story. They were prophesying the same story. So other prophets were prophesying the same thing. So after Armageddon, be victorious, they said the Lord will give it into your king hands. And see, that's what God wanted. That's why He put that lying spirit in their mouth. Because He wanted Ahab to go ahead on out to war. Because He giving him punishment because he oppressing the Israelite. Because remember he was really lying. He said, I got him under you just for a reason. So now it's time that he punished Ahab. So he wanted them to go to war. So now the messenger who had gone to summon Mordecai, the king telling him, make sure your word agree. Now the king going to tell Mordecai. He called him out to prophesy, but you make sure your story is the same of the other 400 stories. He only can prophesy what God give him to prophesy. You can't tell him your story got to match up, what they say. All prophets is different, and God talked to all His prophets, but He talked to all of them on a different level. So you can't tell a prophet, that you got to, your story has to match up. Your story got to line up with all these 400 prophets. His prophet, his word had to come from God. So now the messenger has said, make sure your story line up the same as the other prophet. So Mordecai has said, as surely as the Lord live, I can tell him only what the Lord tell me. And that's what I just said. He can't tell you nothing different. He only can tell you, what God tell him to say. So he cannot lie and tell another story. Because God will not allow him to be a prophet. He said, I only can tell you what God tell me to say. So the king asked Mordecai, should we go to war? They started asking, should they go to war? See, they didn't want to consult God. They want to consult the prophet. 400 prophets. So go out to war. So they started asking, could we go out to war? So Mordecai had answered, he done the 400 prophets. They told their story. Now, we about to see what Mordecai going to say. He's trying to make sure your story line up with the 400 prophets. So Mordecai had answered, I saw all the Israelites, scattered on the hill like the sheep without a shepherd. And the Lord said, these people have no master. Let each one go home in peace. He said, let them all go home in peace. So that means do not go to war. Because you go to war, just like he said, you're going to be scattered. Scattered all over the hill. Like you ain't got a master, like you lost like a sheep. So God said, no, don't go out to war. You go home in peace. So now the king of Israel has said to Joshua, didn't tell you that he never prophesied. Now, see, he's saying, didn't I have told you? He don't never prophesy good. Now he's telling us to do not go to war, to go home in peace. So so now he don't want to believe Mordecai. You know, he gonna believe the 400 people that told him the same story. And that's how people is. People will judge you what about 5 or 10 of them say about this about her. And so all the people say so, it's the truth. 9 out of 10 it's not. You know, sometimes people can be on the same page. You know, but that don't mean they're telling the truth. Some people just get in groups and just be on the same page. You know, you got 400 prophets, you know, said the same thing. That's what God wanted to do. God wanted all 4 prophets, you know, to say the same thing. And Mordecai's story was gonna be different. He wanted him to choose the 400. He'll be like, oh, okay, if these 400 said it, that means it's true. That means God wants us to go to war. Yeah, God wanted you to go to war. You know, but you were supposed to listen to Mordecai. Mordecai said, God said, don't go to war. Go home in peace. You know, so that was just a punishment for Ahab. You know, so now Mordecai, you know, he is not finished. She not finished telling the story. You know, he continued on. You know, therefore hear the word of the Lord. Now he said the Lord is sitting on his throne. You know, he said God's sitting on his throne right now. So that means he's on. You know, he said with all the multitudes, you know, of heaven is standing around him on the right and on the left. Now he said he see God on the throne. You know, and he said multitudes all behind, standing around him on the right hand side and on the left hand side. You know, so the vision Mordecai has saw was either a picture of a real incident in heaven, you know, because it's like he saw God on the throne. You know, so did you saw God in heaven, or you saw him on earth sitting in his throne? You know, so he told it in parables of what was happening on earth, illustrate the false prophet would be part of God's judgment upon Ahab. You know, and that's what I said. It was a punishment, you know, against Ahab. You know, because he's an evil king, and he oppressed the Israelites. Now he always, you know, he had the Israelites, you know, God, you remember God had them to destroy the false gods that were prophesizing, you know, who they were serving. He told them to destroy it. And Ahab the one turned them to a false god. You know, so it was a punishment from to Ahab. You know, so the Lord said, who would entice Ahab, you know, into attacking Galilee and going to his death there. You know, so he said, who gonna attack? You know, because he wants them to go to war. So it's a punishment to Ahab. You know, so one spirit came forward, I will entice him, and the Lord asked that I will go out and be a deceiving spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. You know, that you will succeed in enticing him, go and do it. You know, so God give you all this, like, go and do it. You know, go and do it. You know, so he asking them, who gonna do it? You know, so the lion spirit symbolized, you know, the way of life for these prophets that who had told the king only what he wanted to hear. You know, and see, that's how God did. He put the lion spirit in there. You know, he wanted Ahab to hear what he wanted to hear. You know, he wants to hear, yeah, let us go to war. So God put it in this spirit, you know, let him know to go ahead on the war. That's what you want to do, go to war. So the reason all the prophets had the same stories, the Lord had put a deceiving spirit in the mouth of all these disasters, you know, for him. You know, so the king placed Mordecai in prison. You know, he was speaking the truth. You know, but then all of a sudden he wants to put Mordecai in prison because he wants to go ahead on the war. He didn't want to listen to him. You know, he want to listen to the 400 prophets. You know, and they want to put him in jail to shut him up. You know, so the king placed Mordecai in prison, and the king said, give him bread and water until he returned back. You know, so now he didn't listen to what Mordecai said. You know, Mordecai said, if you go to war, you know, you're gonna be scattered all over the place, like you ain't got no sheep, you ain't got no master. You know, but if you don't go to war, you know, he said he go home in peace. So that's why, so Mordecai had said, declare, if you ever return safely, that means the Lord had not spoken through me. Because he had just told him, if you go to war, you're not coming back. You're going to be scattered all over. So that's why Mordecai said, if you talking about going to war, then you going to see me, you coming back? He said, as long as the Lord live, he said, you will not be coming back safe. Because the word had came from the Lord. And so Israel, the king, had want to go to war. They had wanted to go on. Now God had given them rest for 3 years. And all of a sudden they want to go to war. So the Israel, they want to go to war. Jehoshaphat had said it required God first. They don't want to require God. They want to depend on 400 prophets. So they said bring in the 400 prophets. But God had placed a lying spirit in them, so they had all the same story. So Mordecai's story was different because he came from God. So God had wanted them to go to war. So he know if they believe the 400 spirit, he know he was not gonna believe Mordecai. So God wanted him to believe the 400 people. So it worked. They placed Mordecai in prison, and they had went to war, just like God had wanted him to do. He wanted him to go to war. So God did this because it was a punishment against Iran. So that's all the word I have for you on today. It's about Mordecai, God prophets. He'll put a punishment on Iran. So he knew he was going to believe 400 people and not believe Mordecai because it was just one of him. And that's how it is. They'll believe so many people. They will not believe one person. So on Jehoshaphat, he had told him, he said, y'all seek God first. They didn't want to seek God. They wanted to seek the prophet that they had. They didn't want to go through God. They want to deal with the prophet that they have. And all the prophets told the same story. So when Mordecai came along, you make sure your story match up, with our story. He said, I only can say what God give me to say. So he said, I can't just, because he worked under God. He only said what God give him to say. So that's all the word I have for you tonight. Y'all have a blessed night, and I see you on the next video.